Hi everybody, this is Frilioth and welcome to another Minecraft tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to build the automatic storage and sorting system that sits at the bottom of my one chunk farming complex. Now you can build this standalone if you wanted to. If you just wanted to incorporate this automatic sorting and storage system somewhere in your base, then you can use this system, but I'm going to show you how to plumb it into the bottom of the one chunk farm, which is that there. I'll put a list of everything you need to build it on screen now, so pause the video if you need to. And now we'll crack on with building this thing. Okay, so for this build you're going to need an area, you're going to need a room that is 17 wide by 17 deep by 11 blocks high. Now this is the same size, the 17 by 17 area is the same size as the rest of the farms in the one chunk farming system, so it fits directly on the bottom of your existing farm, of your existing one chunk farm. So once you've got that, you want to light it up a little bit because it's going to be dark in here, and then you need to identify the front of it. This is the front. This is going to be where my door is. Okay, so to start with, we're going to put a bit of lighting in here. We've got a few torches up here already, but we're going to start by putting a line of glowstone down the centre line of the of your storage system, of your storage area. So you want to start at the very front, this block there, and you want to pop these out all the way down to the back. And you want to fill this in completely with glowstone or sea lanterns or jack-o'-lanterns or nothing. You don't have to put lighting in if you don't want to, but I like the lighting. And then you want to cover this completely with carpet. Today we're going to use red. And while you're doing this as well, you want to make sure you identify that block, the top centre block that leads to the chute that drops everything down the centre of your farm. If you remember from the other farming complexes, the other modules, everything comes down the centre of the farm and it's going to drop into your storage area through that chute. So you need to identify that right at the beginning, pop it out now, and it's just going to make things easier later. Right, now we're going to put in some crafting tables. So if you find your centre line, this centre line here, you want to go 2 over, and then you want to start at the front again, the same distance in as your carpet or your glowstone, and you want to pop all of these out to one from the end and fill it with crafting tables. If you don't want to use this many crafting tables, you don't have to. It's up to you. If you only want one crafting table in here, you could probably replace one of those bits of glass, one of those sea lanterns or glowstones at the front, and replace that with a crafting table if you want to. But I like having them all the way down in front of the chests. So you do that on one side, then you go over to the right hand side and do exactly the same thing. So pop all of these blocks out. So you get one from the end. Fill them in with crafting tables. So now you should have something that looks like that. Right, now it's time to start putting in some chests. So you want to get yourself some trap chests and you want to get yourself some normal chests. Now there's room in here for 80 double chests. You've got 40 down one side, you've got 40 down the other side. You probably could extend them up a little bit higher if you wanted to, just build the floor down a little bit further. But I think once you get to sort of 5 high, it's about as high as you can reach without jumping up and down. So 40 is enough to start with. So you want to get yourself a normal chest and then a trap chest, and you want to work your way all the way down to the back, alternating between normal chests and trap chests. And you want to do exactly the same on the other side. And now you want to put these 5 high. like that. As I say, you can probably just about get away with putting another one on top there. If you really needed the storage, you could just about get away with putting another one up there. But we're not going to do that. We're going to leave it at 5. So then you just want to run that all the way down the left-hand side and all the way back up the right-hand side. So now you have something that looks like that. Okay, now we need to put a block above the top of these chests. Now you can either use stairs, upside down stairs, or slabs or glass, but I prefer to use glowstone. So you need to put a line of glowstone or sea lanterns above the top of the chests. So now we have this. Okay, so now it's time to start putting in some redstone. So you want to go to the right, go around to the right, behind the back of your chests, and this is where you want to start putting your hoppers in. So you need to put crouch and put a hopper into the back of every one of the chests, the double chests on the right hand side, at the back on the right hand side. So crouch and then put a hopper so it's leading into the chests. You only need one hopper per double chest. You want to do it all the way down until you've done that. So once you've done this side, you want to go around and do exactly the same on the other side. Okay, so you've got hoppers going into all of these double chests. You've got hoppers going into these double chests. Now the hoppers are on the right hand side of the chest when you're looking at them from the back. Very important that you put them on the right hand side, not on the left hand side. Don't put them down that side. You want to put them down the right hand side of the chests. And that's on both sides. That's on the left and on the right. Because of the way the items are going to flow around at the top, you need to put the hoppers on the right hand side at the back of the chests. So it looks like that. Right, so now it's time to start rigging up the sorting system for your storage system. So you want to come back round to the, you want to go back round to the right hand side again. This is the front. So you want to go behind the back of the chests on the right, and you want to put a hopper leading into, it has to be pointing into this glowstone. Don't have it pointing straight down into that hopper. You don't want that nozzle pointing straight down. You want the nozzle pointing at the glowstone. It's very important that you don't have it pointing straight down. You've got to have it pointing towards the front. And then you want another hopper pointing into that one. And you want to do that all the way down. Right, now you need to get yourself some solid blocks. I'm using quartz again. And then you need to crouch and you need to put 2 solid blocks like that. Then you want to go down one, put a block there. You want to put in a temporary block and a block there. Pop that one out. Then you want to put a block there. Then you want to put a torch on there. So you've got that kind of shape. So you've got a solid block behind the back of the hopper, solid block, down at a diagonal, solid block, down at a diagonal, solid block, back up at a diagonal, solid block there. And then on the top of this block, you need a comparator. Then you need to put some dust there, you need a repeater there, leaving it on 1 tick. And then you want to put a torch there. Okay, so we'll do that. Just do that again. Solid block, and the solid block down one. Temporary block, solid block underneath it. Block there. Back up to the top. Comparator. Dust. Repeater. And then torch on there. Okay? Once more. 2 solid blocks leading out the back of the hopper. Solid block. Another block there. Block up there. Put your torch on the back of that block. Then put your comparator, 2 bits of dust, and a repeater there on standard 1 tick delay. Now basically what that's going to do, we're going to put another hopper on the top of here in a second, and that comparator is going to read whether there's an output on the hopper that's on top of there. And once it reaches a signal strength of 2, it's going to light up that repeater, which is going to turn off that torch and allow items to go through it. Okay, 2 solid blocks, block like that. Comparator, dust, repeater, and then a torch. Okay, so that's what you need to do, and you need to do that on the back of every one of these. Okay, so you should have something that looks like that. Now you need to get yourself a hopper, and you need to crouch, and you need to put the hopper facing into that comparator. See, so you've got your nozzle there facing into the comparator. If you find it easier, if you find that a little bit difficult, just pop off the comparator, put a solid block there, and have the hopper going into the solid block. Then you can take away the solid block and put your comparator back in again. But don't have it pointing straight down. If you have that pointing straight down into there, into that hopper, it won't work. It needs to be pointing and it's not easy. It needs to be pointing into the comparator. Okay, so you've got that. All these nozzles, double check, because once it's all set up and with water on it, you don't want to be knocking it down. So double check to make sure all of these nozzles are pointing backwards into the comparators. Okay, once you've got that, you need to do exactly the same on the other side. Okay, so once you've got your hoppers in and your redstone, you need to grab yourself some compressed ice, and you need to run some compressed ice along all of these hoppers, starting from the front. You want to go all the way to the back. Now you really do need to use compressed ice because of the lighting in here. If you use normal ice, there's a very good chance it's going to melt, it's going to run down, it's going to ruin your redstone. You do need compressed ice. So once you've got that line of ice down there, you want to fill in the gaps in between the hoppers with the compressed ice. And then you want to run it across your back wall. And you want to run it down all of these hoppers. Exactly the same as you did on the other side. Again, filling in between the hoppers. So now you've got something that looks like that. Okay, now we need to put in some panes of glass. So grab your panes and you want to start on top of this. If you imagine that's the center, this is the right. You want to start on top of the hopper on the right hand side, and you want to run a line of glass panes all the way down to the bottom, like that. And at the very beginning, the very first block, you either need to put a chest or a piece of cake. Either will do, but if you can see the hitbox of a piece of cake, or of the cake, and a chest is slightly smaller than a block. So anything now that comes down this ice road, we're gonna fill this with ice in a second. Anything that comes down there is going to be hanging over those hoppers very slightly. So it's going to be able to take advantage of the ice and still move really quickly, but it's going to be far enough over the top of the hoppers to be sucked into the hoppers. And it will only work if you've got either a piece of cake or a chest. If you put a solid block there, like that, it'll run on the ice only. It won't get picked up by the hoppers. So if you've got loads of cake, use a piece of cake. If you've got a chest, use a chest. So you want to run, put the cake in the chest at the front, at the start, and then run a line of glass panes all the way down, and then you come over to the other side, and over here do exactly the same. But on this side, you either need to put 2 pieces of cake or a double chest. It's up to you. We're using cake. And then, same as the other side, put a line of glass panes along the top of all of the hoppers. Now you need to grab yourself a solid block, and you just need to fill this in to stop any water from getting out. So don't cover the ice, just make a trench. So the water now is going to come down there, along there, and then back up the other side. And you want to run a line of solid blocks right up to the end. And do the same on the right hand side as well. But on the right hand side, don't go all the way to the end. You want to stop a block short. Then get yourself the compact ice again, and you want to run a line of ice till you're over the center of the center line of your storage unit, over your red carpet. And then you need to run the ice down the center until you're directly underneath the chute where all of your goodies are going to fall down. So everything now is going to fall onto this block of compressed ice. And grab yourself some solid blocks again and completely surround this so that the water can't get out. Okay, so now you've got something like that. Okay, now it's time to start putting in some water. So grab yourself some water. You can either use ice. If you're in survival, you could put a block of ice down and then break it to form water. Or you can use water buckets if you've got plenty of water buckets knocking about. But you want to come to the very centre of your farm where the chute comes down from the middle. And you want to put yourself down some water there. Then you need to get yourself out a slab. You can use a sign if you want to, but I like using slabs. You want to put a slab right at the end, just there, like that. And then you want to put another water bucket there. Now you want to come to the end of this block, just here, and you want to put another slab in just there. And then you want to put down another piece of water, like that. Come down to where the water finishes, put another slab, and more water. And then right to the end block, this one there, put another slab. Now, as you can see, the things are going to come, all your goodies are going to come down the centre of the farm. They're going to come into this water chute, and they're going to slide down because it's ice really quickly, and they're going to go underneath the slabs. And you want to put another water block there. A slab at the end. Water. Now try and get the slab above a block of ice there, not one of the hoppers. You need it above ice. So you can put it there. I mean, the water runs another block. You'd think you could put it there, but if you put it there, there's a chance that the stuff's going to get stuck on top of the hopper. So just put it on top where the ice is, not where the hopper is. And then you want to put down your final bit of water just there. So now anything that drops into there is going to come down the end, go down to there, hit the cake, run right the way down the side of these hoppers, being sucked up by your item filters, then all the way around the back, and then all the way back down to here. Perfect. That's what you should have now. Right, okay, before we finish off building at the top and decorating the ceiling, what we should do now is just go around and tidy it up a little bit. So we want to pop out some of these torches that I threw around just to give myself a little bit of light. And you want to just tidy it up a little bit. So if you put a torch on the bottom of each one of these blocks, that'll give you plenty of light down the bottom. And if you put a torch just there at the top, it's going to do two things. Firstly, it's going to light it up, and secondly, it's going to cut down on the lag caused by this redstone when it starts to flash. And just put a couple of torches over the back. You don't want stuff spawning up here, do you? And then do exactly the same on the other side. Torches like that. Pop down to the bottom. Get rid of these. Torches there. Okay, now grab yourself some more glowstone and put a line of glowstone from the front all the way down the back underneath the ice. Okay. And then grab yourself some solid blocks and just fill in all of this. And then you just want to do the same on the other side. Now grab some stairs, and you want to put a stair there, then turn through 90 degrees, and then put a line of stairs all the way down the ceiling like that. Turn through 90, one there, turn through 90, and then do it all the way back again, just to give it a bit of texture. Okay, so starting there, stair, 90 degrees. If you don't turn through 90 degrees at the end, that happens, which is no good. So you need to put your stair and then turn through 90 degrees, put another stair, and then it sort of joins up in the corner. So it's starting to look like a storage room now. Now you should have something that looks like that. Right, now it's time to finish off at the top. So get yourself back at the top again. Up here, we need to put a column now around the centre column, going all the way up to the top. Hopefully, you've got it lined up so that joins up with the top, and everything now that falls down the centre, everything now that falls down the centre of your farm is going to fall straight into this water chute and go down here and start off on its merry way. Now, I forgot to mention it, but you do need to be putting a little bit of lighting at the front as well. Apologies for not mentioning it, but you can never have too much light. So just get yourself down some light there, a bit more light around the middle. Possibly a little bit of light here. It's just to stop spawns, really. You just don't want anything spawning up here. So now you should have something that looks like this. Right, we're nearly done. If you've got this far, congratulations, we're nearly there. It's now time to start priming the system. So we need to prime the filters so they start working. So get yourself over to the right hand side. This is the centre, that's the right, that's the left. Go to the right hand side, go to the first hopper, and you need to put in one item in the 3 right hand slots there, and then 15 items in the second slot. Okay, so you need 1, 1, 1 and then 15, and this will allow you to have about 4 or 5 items in that slot there. You could put 18 in there and then you'd only be allowed 1, but if it glitches or you know, ticks out or does something and that item disappears, gets sucked through your system, then the next item through is going to go in there and it's going to wreck your system. So it's always best to have a few less items in that slot and a few more in that one, and that way, even if it does glitch a little bit and an extra item goes through, it's still not going to run dry. And I'd also suggest that you use items that will never ever ever be anywhere near your one chunk farm. Don't use cobble, don't use stone, don't use torches, don't use dirt, don't use anything that's going to be dropped by any one of the mobs or, you know, witches or glowstone. Don't use anything like that. Certainly don't use any kind of food. So I'd recommend using netherrack, or get yourself an anvil, get yourself a stack of dirt and rename the dirt as a filler block. If you really wanted to do that, that would be the safest. But if you don't want to do that, the next safest is going to be using netherrack, because, you know, touch wood, you're never going to have netherrack in your one chunk farming system. So there you go, you need to put 18 items into your hopper in that configuration, and you want to do that in all of your hoppers. And once you've done one side, pop over to the other side, do exactly the same over this side. 1 in the first 3 and then 15 in the second one, leaving the first one blank. That in that particular slot, we're going to put whatever it is you want to store in the chests below. And we'll go through and do that in a second. Okay, so once you've done all of that, it's now time to start putting in the items that you want to store in the chests below. Now, again, this I can't tell you how to do this. It's entirely up to you. If you want 4 chests that are going to be filled with wheat, then put wheat in the first 4 hoppers, and then 3 for carrots if you want to. Then a couple of. It's entirely up to you. If your farm above has just got carrots and potatoes in it, then you want carrots on one side, potatoes down the other. How you do this is entirely up to you. I can't tell you how to do it. What I can tell you is whatever you want stored in the chest below, you need to put 4 items in that hopper. So now only, oh, very clever, well done. Only wheat is going to go in there. If wheat comes down this system now, it's going to get sucked up by that hopper. Anything else is going to go straight by. So in this one, I think we'll have potatoes. Now, as you can see, they'll flow through until it gets down to about 5. 4 or 5. So now only potatoes is going to go into that one. This one we'll have carrots. Okay. This one, I think we'll have a bit of beetroot. You get the gist of it. I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me do all of it. But whatever you want in the chest below, you need to put 4 or 5 of them in the hopper above. Okay, so I've got around to here. I've got my wheat. I've got my potatoes. I've got my carrots. I've got my pumpkins. I've got my melons. I've got my sugar cane. I've got cactus. I've got some seeds in there. I've got beetroot seeds in that one. I think that's pretty much all of my food. Now we've got the mob drops, so I'm going to put in here all of my mob drops. So I'll have rotting flesh, bones, arrows, gunpowder, and then something else. I'll think of something else. And then at the end, if you've got quite a big mob farm up there that gets witches as well as the rest of them, then you're probably going to want the end item here, the end chest, to store everything else. So each one of these are all filtered, and we'll only have one item going into it. If you've got witches up there and you get lots of different drops, you know, the redstone, the glowstone sticks, bottles, you know, there are loads of different ones. You won't have enough room to store it all. So what you're going to have to do then is just take this filter out. So if you completely take that filter out, then anything that isn't filtered will get round to the end and it will all go in these chests. So this will be like your overflow chest or your miscellaneous item chests. But if you've only got food upstairs and you don't want a miscellaneous chest at the end of it, then obviously leave the filter in. But if you want it to store everything else, leave the filter out. Okay, so once you've got all your items in at the top, it's time to start labelling it up. So grab yourself an item frame. You can use sides if you want to. I just like the look of item frames. Grab yourself an item frame and just put in whatever is in these chests. You want to do that all the way around. Right, we're nearly there. Once you've put in the item frames with the items in them, so you know what's going to be in your chests, we just need to do a final little bit of decorating. So grab yourself a solid block, come down to the back, and run a line of blocks down next to the chests, and leave a gap at the bottom of 2. You're going to put a door in there. Go over to the other side, do exactly the same on the other side, so you've got your 2 high gap. Get yourself out an iron door. Now it really has to be an iron door because we have villagers upstairs, or I've got villagers upstairs. You might not have villagers upstairs, but you're probably best off using an iron door anyway. Pop an iron door there, pop an iron door there, grab yourself a couple of buttons, 4 buttons, button, go through, put yourself down a torch above the door just to give yourself a little bit more light, and another button, over to the other side, button, bit more light, That's the back down. I mean, if you want to put a decoration, put any decorations on the wall, you can do. If you want to put a tree there or a potted plant, do what you like. You can decorate it how you like. It's your build, your rules. And we'll just fill in the front. Getting yourself an iron door there as well. Button. Button. So if you've got this far, congratulations. Pat yourself on the back. Well done. It's been a monumental effort. Well done. But what you will have now is a storage room that automatically sorts all of your goodies out from the one chunk farming system into their own designated chests. We even got the iron farm up there. Have a look at the stuff coming down. So as you can see, everything falls down through the middle, lands in the water chute, comes down here, and then just goes off around the top of the sorting system, and it's collected by the hoppers when it goes over the hopper that's got the relevant item inside it. Now you will find, depending on how big your farm is, if you've got a farm, a one chunk farming system that's got lots of the same kinds of farming, as an example, I don't know, maybe you've got one that's full of potato farmers. So you've got a whole one chunk farm full of these guys potato farming. You're going to get a lot of potatoes. You're going to get sometimes these potato filters will only allow 64 in there. So if you get a lot of potatoes fall down at once, sort of more than 64, because they stack together, when it goes over this filter, it's going to fill up, and then any more potatoes are going to go straight by, and they'll finish up over in your overflow chest, unless you have another potato filter the next one down, and then obviously they'll go to the next filter. So if you do find that you're getting items in your overflow chest here that you think should be in, that should have been sorted and in your other chests, it's purely because the filter, the hopper, couldn't suck them in quick enough as they were going over the top. And as long as you don't have netherrack or whatever it is your filler item in there, as long as you don't get that coming down the system, this won't break. So that's how to build a fully automatic self-sorting storage system for use on the one chunk farming complex. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, everybody. If you have, please don't forget to leave it a like. And if you've really loved it, don't forget to subscribe for future tutorials. This is Frilioth, and I'm out of here.